Amazon Aurora DB practical example with .NET Core. Hello friends, my name is Chandra Kashwaryani and welcome to my channel Coding Book. So basically this is a playlist in what we are understanding or we are doing a practical implementation of Aurora DB. But I realize that few of the terms you should be familiar before we start the practical implementation, and that is the reason I have in the part 1 already covered these 4 parts, and I would recommend you guys go with these functionality. Why I am recommending is that they are not theoretically knowledge, right? There are already number of articles on the internet you can go through with. Always they are really good articles, but basic knowledge is really important. Only then you would be able to understand the actual benefit of this Aurora DB. That's why I'm recommending go and watch. That's a really quick and the basic knowledge. Okay, now in this scenario, in this video we'll cover about Aurora DB, its features, scaling, load balancing, fault tolerance, backup and backtracking, and then we'll do the demo in what we'll create Amazon Aurora DB. We'll create .NET Core microservice project. We'll connect that with Entity Framework Core code first approach, and then we'll do our create, read, update, and delete operation. Okay, now let's first understand about Amazon Aurora DB. Amazon Aurora DB is a type of database which you will create in AWS in the cloud. So if you have decided that I will have relational database, if you have decided that I'll have the Aurora DB, then you again will given two options that which compatibility do you want, the MySQL one and the PostgreSQL one. These are the two things which is supported by Amazon Aurora DB. Each one has benefits on over each others, and we'll see what are the differences and what are the benefits. Based on that, you can select. This session will give you answer that why you should go for Amazon Aurora DB, what additional benefit this Aurora DB is providing. Because each time when you click on relational database service in the Amazon console, you would notice that AWS is recommending you to go for the Aurora DB. So there should be a reason, right? And what is the reason we are looking at here? So Postgre and MySQL are supported in Aurora DB. Aurora storage automatically grows in increment. Here we come with the first benefit. Grows in increment 10 GB to 64 TB. That means if you insert anything in your database, you keep inserting anything in your database, and at an endpoint there is a limit, right? So you do not need to worry. That database would automatically grow up to 64 terabytes. Another benefit, Aurora is cloud optimized and the claim 5x more performance over MySQL on RDS. If you have chosen RDS database of a MySQL, simple MySQL database with RDS, or if you choose Aurora DB, then it claims it guarantees you 5x more performance. Similarly, over 3x performance over Postgre and RDS. That's the second benefit. Aurora can have up to 15 read replicas. That is the reason, why I am saying that go and watch those videos, because a few of the terms we're using, we should be familiar. So read replicas, the limit of RDS was 5, but this time Aurora DB allows you to create up to 15 read replica, means more high availability, means more performance for your application. Another benefit. Aurora cost you, yes, of course, if it is providing you such benefits, then there is a cost, and the cost is more than 20, actually approximately 20% more if you go for other databases. So that's the difference between PostgreSQL and MySQL. Cross-region read replicas, there is a support in MySQL. Aurora Global Database, yes, there is a support. Database one writer, multiple readers, there is a read replica across regions in the MySQL. Async replication, yes, it is possible. Backtrack, yes. If you do not understand these terms, then you will understand if you watch the previous part in what we have discussed of what they are. And that's the reason you can watch, that's the way you can understand the actual benefit of Aurora DB. These are the features: backup and recovery, automatic failover, automatic patching with zero downtime, routine maintenance, monitoring and backtrack, high availability. Aurora will always keep six copies of data across 3 AZ. I have explained that you should go for that region which gives you or which provides at least 3 availability zones. Why? So whenever you have one data, when your user inserts one data in your database, actually in the backend Aurora DB keeps the 6 copies of your data in the 3 different availability zones. So if you have chosen that region which does not have 3 availability zones, then you will not be benefited, right? So that's the reason, or that is the recommendation. Similarly, if you insert another data, then again 6 copies will be added. One instance which takes writer, that is a master. So you will have one instance, master instance. With the help of, you would do the read and write. of your application. Automated failover happens for master if anything gets failed in less than 30 seconds. Really interesting one. If you have a master instance and if you have a read replica, or if you have a multi-AG support enabled for your application, then if there is a failover in your master instance, then either of them based on your configuration would automatically become master, would automatically start serving as a writer within the 30 second. That process would happen automatically without even your any manual intervention. Your user will not realize that anything gets failed, and even before that your read replica or availability zone support would start working before even the user realize. You can create up to 15 read replicas. Any read replica can become master. As we have seen, either your read replica can become your master or multi-AZ support. RODB master and read replica, let's understand this concept. Let's suppose you have an application. You have one database instance that is your master instance. This master instance will have writer endpoint. So this writer endpoint, you consider this as a connection string. So yeah, your application with the connection string is bind with this master instance. Further, let's suppose you have created multiple read replicas for your application like 1 2 3 4 5 in order to achieve the auto scaling, right? If you have enabled that, then you will have to connect those as well, right? But in that case, you do not need to remember the connection string of each read replica. If there is a X user and it is requesting for the data, you are not going to manually you know keep a state that for X user I have to send this to this read replica, and if the Y request, then I need to send the request to read replica. That would be done automatically by this load balancing for connection string. You will have one reader endpoint, you will have one connection string which is added in the application, and based on the number of requests, the load would be balanced among multiple users automatically. And similarly, if your anything gets failed, then reader becomes a writer. Again, you do not need to change the connection string. That would be done automatically. That's the concept of Amazon DB master and read replica. DB scaling capability, you can achieve vertically and horizontally both. Vertically, let's suppose before you start your development or database development, you decided there will be just small users. You have purchased a small machine, but later on your load increase, then you do not need to worry what should I do. You can easily go and update the configuration and can purchase or upgrade that application to serve more users, or like from medium or the large application. Similarly, you horizontally you can scale. That means you can add the replicas, and replicas we add just to increase the read performance to achieve the high availability. Auto scaling by creating policing, really important features. I'll just showcase here, and then we will do in the next part. Actually, we'll do the practical everything. What I'm explaining here, we'll do the practical implementation. So let's suppose, let me write it. You have one master instance, and you said I will not have any read replica, right? You do not want to create, and but you create a policy, and in the policy you have written that if the master instance CPU utilization exceeds by 80%, then you create a read replica. Also, it is not like that. Let me write a 5. It's not like at 10:55 the CPU utilization exceeds by 80%, you just create a replica. Of course, you want to wait for a couple of seconds or maybe a couple of minutes, right? So you have written in the policy that if the CPU utilization of your master instance exceeds by 80% for continuous 5 minutes or more than 5 minutes actually, then then you create the read replica. So then one read replica would be automatically created. And the best part about this, if your load gets down to 10% or even less than, or anything less than you have defined in the configuration, this read replica would be automatically deleted. You do not need to pay for that read replica. Similarly, whatever is written in the configuration, based on that, it keep deleting and keep adding the read replicas. Do we need to delete the auto? No, we do not. I have explained that. But remember, by policies, only those read replica will be deleted which were created automatically, not those one which you manually created. And that's of course makes sense. You do not want this configuration to delete your manually created read replica, right? So that's the other thing with read replica policies. We'll do practical for that as well. Fault tolerance, backup, backtracking. Fault tolerance, when your master cluster fails, you can set up read replicas to serve as a master. We have seen that your master is failed, then your read replica becomes the master. For multiple read replicas, you can set the priorities. Yes, so let's suppose you have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, anything. So these are the read replicas. When you create the read replicas, you have to define the priorities as well. So priorities is when your master gets failed, then according to the priority, which read replica should start serving as a master. T0 has the highest priority, so it will start serving as a master. Now let's suppose even T0 gets failed by any chance, then T1 would become master. Again, we'll do practical. We'll forcefully fail this master instance, and we'll see without doing anything, one of the read replica which is having the highest priority would automatically becomes with a W sign, that is a writer one. Reader automatically becomes writer node. Yes, backup, automatic backup based on retention period. It can be restored easily from these backups. That's fine. Backtracking. Again, let's suppose 1055 you have committed something in the database, or like any user has inserted or updated anything which you want to revert. So you will always have a one option, that is you can make use of backup and restore. But there is another functionality now which is being provided by Amazon Aurora DB, is a backtracking. That means you can go back up to X minutes or X hours and revert your database. So the limit is 72 hours. So if there is a commit at 10:55 and at 11:55 you realize, then you can always go back and revert your data. But the limit is more than 72 hours. Of course, you can now do with the backtracking. You will have the backup in that case, backup and restore functionality. So that's all about this session basically. And in the next part, we'll do the practical implementation of Aurora DB. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Please let me know your comments if you have any query or anything you want me to answer on. I'll be happy to answer. And please subscribe Coding Book. That would help me, in the motivation, so that I can create more videos for you. So thank you for being at Coding Book. Okay, and have a nice day.